Welcome, Bulldog fans. This is Chris Keyword for Dog News Daily Live. This is our very first live broadcast, podcast, whatever we want to call it here today. We want to first off thank our sponsors, DoMyOwn.com. They're official show sponsor and your source, actually, for professional pest control and lawn and garden products. Uh, they're getting things out. Every shipment to them for you is free, fast, free shipping, and products are showing up at your door, so you can DIY just like the pros. So, first off, thanks so much to you guys. We can't have this show without all of our fans and followers out there on social media. So, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube Live. Thank you so much for joining us here. Now, let's get into some Georgia football. The big news today coming out is obviously Georgia versus Oregon. Now, it's not this year. It's not 12 days, or excuse me, we're 11 days away. Can't believe the season's already here. But in 2022, Georgia's back in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium playing the Oregon Ducks. We will be there beforehand. Georgia actually plays Virginia 2020 to kick off the year down in Mercedes Benz. This is something that the Bulldogs, especially Kirby Smart's really trying to get as an opening game of significance. It's really kind of a tilt for the Georgia program. Back when Greg McGarity took over the program, and a lot of you remember, the motto was win the East, get to the SEC title game, and you will be in the national championship picture. All that's changed now that the playoffs is here. Georgia, my personal opinion, they're ranked number 3 this year. They're probably, honestly, Dog Nation, don't kill me on my first broadcast here. They're probably a top 10 team. I don't know if they're a top 3 team yet. Their schedule helps them out tremendously. They have Middle Tennessee State, UMass, Austin Peay to show up, and Georgia Tech. Those 4 are duds. No offense, Georgia Tech fans. Those 4 dud games. So there, you really need to show off some pizzazz. The Notre Dame game was such a huge game, such a program builder for Georgia, for Kirby Smart to go off of. I mean, Dog Nation shows up in South Bend. I mean, makes it feel like a home game. That's something that, especially early on in the year, is going to be a big benefit to the Bulldogs. Even if you have a tough game and you lose, there's momentum to come back losing early in the season. You lose late in the season, a la Auburn. If Georgia doesn't win the East last year, Georgia's not going to the playoffs. It just is what it is. Uh, but having Oregon show up, all the attention, how awesome is that going to be for recruiting for Georgia? Kirby Smart, I mean, Georgia 2022, I mean, there's kids on campus right now who aren't even going to be in that game. They're all going to be graduated. But look at all the attention that the Dogs are going to get in Atlanta. Should feel exactly like a home game, just like the SEC championship did, the national championship did too. This is just prime time for Georgia, and just gets once again all the attention on the Bulldogs. So it's going to be great for recruiting and great for the program. So once again, 11 days away until Georgia kicks off against Austin Peay. You're hearing so many rumblings here on practice. I mean, Kirby's doing a little bit of experimenting on the offensive line. You're hearing Cade Mays filling in at right guard, doing some backup. Kirby's kind of being the mad scientist, and he's kind of dabbling around and seeing what's best for the team and what's going to gel the most. We have about 10 scholarship offensive linemen right now. I mean, that is unbelievable. And they're all 4 and 5 star guys. They're all big time guys. I think the average weight that I saw at the average weight in these guys' size, 6'5, 330. There's some big boys, big boys. So Sam Pittman's done an incredible job. We're going to tinker around there and make that gel. So nothing's going to be, those positions are going to be fluid. You're going to have, left tackle is Andrew Thomas. That's your anchor. He's going to be there. Center's Lamont Galliard. But you're going to have to get some guys gelled and get comfortable with that position, just so when it comes time, injury, if a game gets out of hand, so on and so forth, those guys are experienced and they're ready. So when it comes 2019, 2020, these guys are ready to play. They're ready to fill in their position. You're going to see a little bit of this, on the defensive side as well. I'm thinking, just from the reports I'm reading, some of the practices I've attended, the defensive line, just like last year, Trent Thompson, 5-star guy, has all the potential in the world, coming out of, I think it's the Liberty Bowl, 3 sacks in that game. Then struggles, junior senior year, or actually, excuse me, junior year. He left early for some reason. If you look at this now, Trent Thompson loses his position to Julian Rochester. He's a backup. So your spot's just not filled for you just because, guess what? I'm a part of the program. I'm a veteran guy. I know what I'm doing out there. I'm a performer. Uh, Kirby Smart, his philosophy is best man plays. You practice best, you play your best. So guys like Julian Rochester, Tyler Clark. Tyler Clark is an absolute beast. These guys have guys right behind him. David Marshall. There's a lot of guys that are rotational guys that are going to come in there that need to step up and play. Jay Hayes from Notre Dame, the graduate transfer that comes in. All these guys are looking for playing time. So if you're not at your best, not only on Saturdays, that obviously that's the most important, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you got to be getting after it because there's guys eating at, wanting your spot. So that's something that they're looking at every position. Obviously, you're hearing some talk here in the defensive backfield with uh, LeCount. D'Angelo Gibbs is getting first team reps. How many people thought for him that he would be back in this position so fast? That's just an amazing thing. One, he's a 5-star talent, and he was a top 10 recruit, 2016. So he comes in last year, got a little bit of playing time, had the shoulder injury, and I'm not saying left for dead, but there are some question marks if he was going to even be on this squad this year. That's just one thing that Kirby kind of left it out there and put it in his hands. And that's something that it sounds like he's responding as a part of the program. He's getting first team reps. The talent is there. Now it's all about how that gels back there and how that works. J.R. Reed seems to be just a solid guy. He's a leader, went to SEC Media Days. He's someone that's going to be in that mix back there no matter what. I personally think Richard LeCount is an incredible player. I think he's a hero guy, which it can be good and a bad thing. He wants to make every tackle. He wants to make every play. That safety position is proven. Do your job, and you're helping out the team tremendously. If you're all over the field trying to make the interception, trying to make the batted ball, trying to make the big hit, and you're out of position on, let's say, a play fake, you're in trouble. Killed us in the national championship. Dominic Sanders, a little bit out of position. Not sure if he's trying to go for the just out of position or really what he's doing there. Obviously, Malcolm Parrish thought he was help covering him on the backside, but it's all about knowing your position, and you're the last defender back there. So you need to make sure you're covering your position and you're in the right place. I think LeCount's going to be that guy right now. He's going to go through some growing pains. He's getting called out a ton, and he's going to call out a ton in the press. One, the expectations that high is for him just to step into that role. But at the same time, uh, it's there. I think you're going to see some things. He's going to, he made in the fan day practice that was open to all the Bulldog Nation to come out and see. Uh, he had 3 interceptions that I counted in a lot of the 11-11 or 11 versus 11 drills. Just looked like he was getting after it. High intensity practice, and he's giving it his all. So I think he's heard some of the rumblings from Kirby. That might be, kind of a tactic of Kirby's too. Hey, man, I'm calling you out here. It's time for you to step up. So we're seeing a little bit of that there with the unfortunate injury with Tyreek McGee. I saw him stepping in on the other side and being that position player opposite of DeAndre Baker. Unfortunately, he's going to have the foot injury in practice. He's probably out. I'd love to say he makes South Carolina. I'm not sure he does. So you're going to see a lot of competition in that position on that side of the ball. So think about let's look at Tyson Campbell. You have Tyson Campbell. You're gonna have William Poole. You could see over there a little bit. Eric Stokes is getting a lot of play in the media, getting a lot of praise from Kirby. I'm not sure he's ready to fill in on that opposite side. Definitely a big time speed guy. Showed up as a track guy on campus, world class speed, but not sure he's ready for that position yet as a starter. Tyson Campbell's getting a lot of praise right now. Expected him to get thrown into the fire, especially first game against Austin P. So that's something that side they're gonna test some things out, especially that first game because they're not expected to be tested that much. Game two, they're going to be tested. That side's going to be tested. DeAndre Baker's not going to get thrown a lot of balls. He will be on Debo Samuels against South Carolina, but I don't expect to see him getting the majority of the balls thrown at him. Think of Malcolm Parrish and the Alabama game and national championship game. Second half, a lot of the balls were targeted towards him. Just is what it is. So let's move back here over to on the other side of the ball, on the offensive side of the ball. Jake Fromm's the starter on quarterback. Hasn't been officially named by Kirby yet. By everything I'm seeing in practices, everything I'm seeing in the reports, he's getting 90% of the snaps with the ones. He's a stud. He led us in the national championship last year. There's no reason, unless he just won, barring any injury or any just bad games. Guys, quarterbacks have bad games. Any bad games, he's not. He's the starter. Fields will see time. Fields will see time game one, no matter what. Yeah, they want to get him ready. We only have two scholarship quarterbacks on the roster right now. We want to get him ready, no matter what. Fromm would have played last year as well. He wouldn't have been a redshirt guy. So other positions here, Zamir White, unfortunate injury. I mean, what can you say about it? Dog Nation, I'm sure you've read more than you've liked to hear about it. Tears his ACL on the other knee that he's recovering from. Just an unfortunate injury. The nation's number one running back coming out of high school, tears his leg up in the last, I believe it's his last couple games of the season last year in high school in the playoffs. Shows up to Georgia early, rehabs, does everything right. Next thing you know, he tears up the other leg. What do you do? Feel terrible for the kid. I don't care about the questions. I'm reading a lot of things and hearing a lot of things on the local radio here in Atlanta. Why is he on punt return? Don't ask Kirby Smart that. That's a big no. He is a guy that Mecole Hardman, freshman year, on punt team. Sony Michel, punt team. Derrick Henry at Alabama, punt team. Guys, from everything that we're seeing in practice, he was probably the fourth to fifth guy getting reps at the running back position. He needed to contribute on the special team side of the ball, probably to be on the 70-man travel team roster. And that's being real. I'm not sure if 5 running backs were getting carries this year. From all that we're seeing here, DeAndre Swift, Holyfield, Harrion, James Cook. He's getting a lot of pub, especially from the defensive side of the guys. They're all calling him out, comparing him to a little bit of Sony Michel, but faster is what DeAndre Walker said. So that's high praise for an incoming freshman. Expect to see a little bit of slot from him. He can catch the ball. He's got a quick twitch to him. So expect to see a little bit of that from him. Don't be surprised to not see a little bit of a wild dog package from James Cook. Just imagine this. I'm salivating even thinking about this now. Robertson coming across, faking the handoff, and you have Cook or even Mecole as your threat to run it. How do you guard that? I don't know. So inside the red zone, that's so dangerous. Think about Fields inside the red zone, fake handoff to one of those guys. He has wheels. So the offensive side of the ball, don't get me wrong, defense is going to be strong this year. No Roquan Smith, no Lorenzo, no Davin, no Sanders. We lose a lot of guys, and a lot of senior leadership on that side of the ball. Roquan's a once in a generation talent. He's an absolute stud, maybe the best linebacker George has ever had. He's up there with Jarvis. So, if you want to message me and everything, I'm putting him in that lineage. I think he's great. But on the offensive side of the ball this year is where really Georgia is going to, one, they're going to control the offensive line. Just because we have all these wide receivers now, we have Riley Ridley, who has been an absolute stud in practice and leading up. He's really filling that role of Javon Wims. He's actually just taken over that role. Terry Godwin, who we interviewed, actually go to dognewsdaily.com. Shameless plug. We interviewed Terrence Edwards, an all-time Georgia great receiver. I asked him about Terry Godwin, and he said he was put on this earth to play wide receiver. So coming from an all-time great, that's pretty high praise. Go on to our website and check out that Q&A we did with Terrence. It was fantastic and a lot of insight on this year's team. But with Demetrius Robinson transferring in, that's fantastic news for the Dogs. He's a speedster. Miko Hardman, really his first year last year and being in the offensive side of the ball, proved his worth, was maybe the best player on the field in the national championship last year. So you're going to have a lot of guys out there. I think Holloman looked solid in the fan day. He and Field seems to have a pretty good connection in fan day. So he looked big. He looked like a pretty physical guy. So you're seeing that not only is it running backs that we're going to be, wanting to ground and pound, which, by the way, we're not turning into a spread offense this year. Just because we got all these receivers, we got more of a veteran quarterback. We're not going to be a spread offensive team. Kirby's going to want to ground and pound, control the ball, control the line of scrimmage. Fromm maybe got averaged 13, 14 yards a game last year, 13 to 14 carries last year, or throws, Jeez, way off here. Talking about running backs and everybody. Throwing last year, 13, 15 times a game, maybe. He threw for 300 yards against Missouri. That's because they got some quick hits on us, and we wanted to control the game on that one. But I'm thinking, let me take off this microphone, by the way. It's not even working. I'm thinking he gets 15 to 20 carries, maybe. That's probably what more it's going to be like. I'm not seeing it being anything like, hey, we're throwing 25, 30 times a game. We want to control line of scrimmage. I think you see Swift getting 15 to 18 carries a game, splitting that up, and the rest is going to be divvied up between the core team behind them. So that's it from me here, Dawg News Daily Live. Once again, we want to thank our sponsors at domyown.com. Just fantastic guys over there, big Bulldog fans as well. So thank you for joining us here at Dawg News Daily Live today. And as always, go Dogs.